So Ordinarily Active is a it was a passion project. It's developed a little bit more from there, but basically Ordinary Active, or OA as it's shortened to, exists to inspire just one more person to move. And really what that does is unlocks in them things that they never thought were possible.
Welcome back to yet another episode of the Conveying Stories Podcast, powered by Araujo attorneys. Today we've got a very special guest, Sarah Swainson from the North Coast. Sarah Swainson is not only an entrepreneur, she's not only a comrades veteran, she has absolutely had so many things go on in her life that I would love to hear a bit more about it. Sarah, welcome to the Conveying Stories podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. Sarah, why don't you tell us a bit about just who is Sarah Swainson?
Yeah, so I think at heart, I'm an adventurer. I'm a person that loves something slightly off the wall, or off the beaten track. I'm married. I've got to my husband Paul, and we have five. We lost one. Four naughty four-legged children.
Furry friends.
Furry children. So yeah. So I think at heart, really, what makes me beat is a sense of adventure, I suppose. Yeah.
Okay. And Sarah, I met you through Ordinarily Active. What is Ordinarily Active, and how did it start?
So Ordinarily Active it was a passion project. It's developed a little bit more from there, but basically Ordinary Active, or OA as it's shortened to, exists to inspire just one more person to move. And really what that does is unlocks in them things that they never thought were possible. And it's quite interesting when the reactions to the word ordinary, because I think not many people in nowadays, they want to be ordinary. They want to be superstars. They want to be like, everything's about yourself and making yourself bigger. And actually what Ordinarily Active is really about is going, everybody has a different ordinary and it looks different. So don't compare yours to mine. Our journeys are different. But what you find is in a collaborative community, you find power in that. So I might go and do something and it sparks something in you. So although we might just be ordinary people getting together, what we'll end up doing is quite extraordinary. So that's the ethos behind it. And hopefully, we've just inspire people to get active, to live life actively and break down those barriers, because for so many people, it's really intimidating.
Yeah. I mean, our paths crossed, with the running journey. You had
and now you're going to start paddling. I'm so excited.
and swimming in the ocean and doing what else?
I convinced Rolf as we walked in here. Fantastic.
I can't wait. Look, I don't have balance I can't balance anything. I had one canoe experience when I was at school. For some reason, because I was a matric guy, they said, you know what? You seem like and I was a strong swimmer. So I said, you know what, you should actually, be a lifeguard in one of those triathlons in the dam. So I was the lifeguard. They gave me a canoe. I said, no, I can't balance. And literally the lifeguard needed saving.
Well, it's actually been a super adventure that we just started taking out. It's just been epic.
And is that also under the Ordinarily Active banner? Yeah.
And so how that happened is one of the other ladies started paddling. And this is the beauty of it. And she posted. And then I thought, that sparked something in me. And then I messaged a friend, Nicola, and I said, I booked us paddling. And so what also is find people that you can learn with. So we've got a very good instructor who gives us the confidence to then go and try these wacky things. So I think wherever you go, so like when I started open water swimming, I also found a mentor or somebody to guide you along the way, I think is really important. And just to go, you're fine, you're doing okay, just crack on.
So within OA, do you have sort of a sub-leadership structure, or is everything under you? And how important is that sort of team?
Yeah, so the one of our values is less about you, more about others. So it's very much more, I'm quite emphatic about that, because I think the more you focus inwardly is the less happy people are. So if you can focus on somebody else and input into their life, I think the more we think about ourselves, and that's not self-development. I think that there's always room for self-development and reflection and that kind of thing. But being obsessed about yourself and making yourself big, I don't think has any place in OA. And so really what happens is the collective starts to have momentum. Like any group, there's people that come to the fore and there's people that will stand in the sidelines, but as the key is if people can make connections. I've seen it time and time again, it stays not impacting but not really, and until you make friends and you build those relationships and find belonging, then you know it's clicking. I've seen it just recently with another lady. She did Jumpstart a couple of times and really was on the periphery, but now she's made friends. And she's, the difference is chalk and cheese, and that's the magic. The first 2 times were just activities. Now we've got a lifestyle. Now this is where the magic starts to happen.
And Sarah, I mean, you've mentioned the open water swimming. Is there room for, cycling?
Yeah, so So anything. No, we've actually got somebody. I'm not a cyclist. The bike and I are not friends yet. I have to always put a yet. I didn't grow up cycling. It's not something that I'm particularly comfortable with. But there's somebody else, Bex, in our community who's an incredible cyclist, and I think has a passion to share that with others, and that's what you're looking for in a leadership role, or somebody to take a stream, because ultimately it can't all fall on me because I'm only one person and I'm pretty flawed at the most of the time. So if you can get different people sharing their passions and what they're good at. So yes, anything, fishing, skydiving. I don't actually. What's this new thing? The running golf thing?
Is there something?
So I think it's even with a hockey stick. So
I remember underwater hockey. Was that?
Underwater melon leagues.
Melon,
anything that you can have a bit of fun at. Also, don't take yourself too seriously.
And you mentioned mentors. So in your journey, can you name 1 or 2 mentors and what sort of wisdom or knowledge they imparted to you?
Yeah, there's been a couple as I've gone through my career. I've been very fortunate to work for some really incredible people who have mentored, and I think early on in your career, often people just want to be amazing, but not go through the steps of really learning. And you learn from experience, and if you can, see how somebody else is conducting themselves in a meeting, or closing a sales call, or pushing you outside your comfort boundaries. Informally, also look for people. Different people will have different roles in your life. I've come to, and you can't just. So I've looked for different people that can input in different ways. You want your cheerleaders who, you want your, there's actually a book on it that I read. It's like 12 people that you strategically trying to identify and go, okay, this person's going to help me. Not as clinical as that, but I really would like to try and imitate this person. You want somebody who's older, cross-generational. My parents have played a big role in my life. So and then also on the physical side, I've had great mentors, not only the business side, but people helping me get into different activities in sports.
So how did you get into running? Have you always been, at school you were the cross-country queen, that type of thing?
No, I went to art school. the rugby team was named the Bumblebees, okay? No, I did a bit of athletics in primary school. Then I went to art school, and we were very, very focused. So actually your phys ed, PE and stuff fell away. So we just did our art subjects and stuff. Wasn't very active at all. And I gravitated to running because I'm not very coordinated. I don't say that to get attention. It just really is the hand-eye coordination is just not there. And then you go through your 20s, university, great fun, too much fun to think about anything. And at 23, I had broken up with a boyfriend. I'd like to say I broke up with him. He might have broken up with me, but let's just roll. I broke up with him.
If you're listening, you should be our next guest.
And like any breakup, you look for change, whether you go cut your hair or do whatever. You just want to reaffirm that you're actually okay. And I'd started working at a company, and comrades had always seemed like it is an amazing feat, but it always seems so unachievable. And so I got talking to a lady that I worked for, and she was in her 40s. I thought that was quite old. I take that back now. She broke it down, and she broke down the training. And I thought to myself, there was something in me that goes, hang on, I could do that. Not that I knew anything about running. And so I phoned, it was in July, so this time of the year, and I phoned my middle sister, and I said, Sally, she's much more built for running than I am, and she'd done athletics at school. And I said, come on, I firmly believe nobody's going to run comrades for us. We're going to have to get up our backsides and actually go and run. Well, we didn't have a cooking clue. We pitched up and we joined RAC, which is one of the big clubs in Joburg. Yeah. And again, going back to that mentor, Dick, the captain he was like the institution of RAC. He just took us under his wing and just we must have looked like complete idiots. But bought my first pair of running shoes. It probably was about my whole paycheck. Sure. And went on this journey from zero to comrades the next year. I actually don't advise that, but we did it. Ignorance is bliss when you're unaware of.
Absolutely incredible. And you've done, I think, 10 since,
so 10,
10 comrades since.
So
amazing.
15 years of, well, actually longer than that,
But that's incredible. And I mean, I think the most important thing there, and I think that's probably the biggest focus also of Ordinarily Active, is taking that first step.
100%. And also, I think we've lost the ability to, and go back to why it's ordinarily active, is we've lost the ability to play. As adults, we don't want to look like idiots, and we don't want to, so we must be the best. So if you can't be the best, you don't even want to try. Well, there's this intimidation. So I think the more we can go back to let's get creative, give it a go, but also do the hard work. I don't want to take anything away from ultra distance marathon running. Is time on your legs. It's learning the process, and you actually get better at it. You often see in the third year of a person's long distance running career, they actually start to then, but you do the mileage, you learn all the mistakes, you learn what works for you and what doesn't.
And I mean, just using sort of a comrade's analogy, obviously there's lots of uphills like poly shorts and stuff. What are some of the uphill battles that you faced in being an entrepreneur?
So I think everybody's battles are different. Mine has been focus. For me, I'm a high innovator. So I get fairly bored fairly quickly. So, like the scroll goes, oh, there's the new idea, and it's sparkly and it's nice, and it's, oh, let's do this and let's do that. And I've had to make some really big mistakes, and actually lost big money. And so when you but I think that comes with time. But when everybody says to you certain principles, you don't always take them to heart. Saying that, I've also learned that I need to, at a certain time in a journey, bring other people around me that are going to support where I am not at my strongest. But I've come more and more as I go on this journey. It's focus. It's doing good work that adds value, and a great idea doesn't have any impact if it's not executed. And if you want it to really, it has to be executed well, and that takes focus. And I don't always think I've been particularly good at that.
Yeah, I think execution is a very important thing, because I'm also sometimes a big ideas guy. I've got lots of good ideas, but then the execution of it is so important, and that's where team or friends or family around you is so important.
And I think being critical, I think often when you go into business the first time, or if it's your own business, and particularly my first business, I even had my name on it. It was very much too closely linked almost to my identity.
Yeah.
So you're not as critical as you should be. You don't cut as quickly as you should. You don't. So I think that distance of, and I think some people are better than others. I'm obviously not, but yeah, being a little bit more critical and going, okay, and then doing the things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
I was just reminded on Monday, somebody said to you, Sarah, the work that you are avoiding is the treasure that you seek. And it was so true. I needed that mirror, somebody to put that mirror on my face and say, stop avoiding the things that you don't want to do, because I can find, hey, if you gave me 48 hours in a day, I'd fill them no problem. I'd be, yeah. But it's the things that we avoid. Yeah. Often that's where the magic is.
Yeah. And I think the important thing to remember as well is these days there seems to be this, everyone's striving for perfection.
Oh, yeah.
Your journey will never be perfect. We aren't perfect.
No.
So you'll never, ever be perfect.
No.
So it's okay to fail because that's how you learn,
Yeah, 100%.
There's that book by John Maxwell. It's called, failing forward. So,
100%.
And I think that's so important. People often lose sight of that. And they think, I'm going on this journey and, everything's not perfect as a way that I perceive perfect to be. And then all of a sudden they, fall back and then they actually leave it. Then they're like, you know what, this isn't good. I'm not going to even pursue that any further, And how important is planning, like on your comrade's journey and in your business, how important is planning and breaking it down into little blocks?
Definitely. I think having, my husband will laugh at me when he listens to this, but this is, he's very for like base camp. His analogy, his words most probably coming through me, base camp to base camp. And I think it's really important if I use the analogy of comrades training, you start running your first 5K, and that you're not running 89 Ks on that day. You're just running 5 Ks. That's it. And then you're going 10 Ks and then 21. You're not in the process to the mark of the 21K. You're not trying to aim for the 42. So it's keeping those. And I think in business it's very important. And then I think the other key when you talk about planning is reflection. And so one of the tools that has really added value to me is I've got like a weekly design system, and the best bit of that whole system is the reflecting on the week. Have I really moved the needle on the top 3 things that I said I was going to do, and going back to squirrel and focus and stuff like that? And sometimes I have to be quite honest, no, because I've been all over the place doing different things. So I think planning gives you a sense of not control, but it also allows you, planning gives you space. If you plan your time well, you'll have space, and space allows you to think. Space allows you to actually get creative properly, and so if you plan well, you can hopefully engineer or structure your time well, which then hopefully makes the impact.
Yeah, 100%. And so when you're planning, do you have a daily routine, some sort of daily habits that you...
I wake up at 4:10 every morning. Unfortunately, I've taught my little puppy to wake up at 4:10 every morning now. So that's the start of my day. So I am an early riser by naturally.
And always been, or is that something you've taught yourself?
Yes, okay. I'm a parent's worst nightmare. I'm the child that wakes up early, and like I've had this, like I'd used to go and sit outside the bedroom door, and like the minute I heard that there was movement, I was like, so we're awake. It was torture for me to go out on a sleepover, and they would be a late family, and I'd be like, what do we do? It's like 9:00 and nobody's moved. So I do believe in so most mornings I'm up doing something, either swimming, running, walking, doing whatever. I don't always get it right. I try for a quiet time just to get that in. And then there's the usual chores like packing the dishwasher, all of that kind of thing. And then if it's purely up to me and I've got my own time on my own day, like I use a lot of the time as I'm getting ready is thinking time. So I'm not like, I'll take a bit of time just to get my thoughts together and then work into the office. I don't think I'm at my best between about 8 and 10 with people bombarding me with, so I think I'd like that time. But I mean, that's if you need to speak to clients or whatever, that's a luxury. So I think it depends. But morning routines definitely move. I'm very intentional about it. Quiet time, and then
And tell me, we did a sort of, I think it was 6 or 7 week program with you, our Belito team. We sort of met in the park, and that was so much fun. That corporate sort of wellness. Yes. You told me then that you're a corporate coach of sorts. Yeah. Yep. Tell me how important, firstly, is a good leader, and how important is a healthy team?
Oh, I think it's vital. You see it so many times when your team isn't pulling together. I mean, the analogies are all there. Yeah. But when your team isn't pulling together, it's just like there's a cancer there, and you need to, and also what you find is there's not healthy debate. There's not healthy because they're too scared or they don't care, one of the two. And I think wellness of your team comes in a variety of ways in which you can do it. But I think a lot of people are coming into the workplace and what we would refer to as in a deregulated state. So they're hyper, or they are detached. And so you're sitting with somebody that their response to an environment could be out of sync. So I don't know whether you've ever seen somebody who has a overreaction to a stimulus. Yeah. Their heart rate will actually sit at a different level. Or you have the opposite of somebody sitting with a lower heart rate and they're disengaged. So the person's blank. Yeah. And so we really are striving for a place where the person can regulate to be able to do their job. And regulation comes through a number of ways. Movement is one of them. Yeah. So there's physiological things that we can do and we can teach people. So movement, any of your arts, your singing, your dancing, running, breath work, any of it is going to help that person regulate. Yeah. And then the real bit like OA is you want that person to find belonging or community within your workplace. Yeah. Because we have never been so lonely in a connected world. And so in a big workplace, it's easier with smaller teams, or you can get down to the nitty gritty quicker. But I think wellness there's no one tick box exercise. Even if you're implementing like a Couch 10K program, you got to create the culture of where somebody feels that they can participate. Because like if you think about it, these are my colleagues. Now you want me to go and run or walk. People are different shapes, different sizes. They've got all this noise in their head. So you've got to create this space. And I think that's been the journey into the corporate spaces. How do we create an engaged, raving fans for your business and help them regulate and help them? Because if you look at the stats, a large percentage of our pool of people that we're employing are coming from trauma-based backgrounds. So they're stepping into the workplace and they are already all over the place. So trauma can be anything from poverty to neglect as a child. It can be massive traumas as well. And we know a lot of people in the South African context are coming from that background. Yeah. So I think employers have a responsibility to say, yes, let's invest in our people and create a space where they can achieve. So what I've seen time and time again is I just actually had a message from one of the guys of the corporate that I worked in. He was all over the place. I was like, just focus. And he was, and you know what, when it clicked, he joined the choir and then he booted out of that, and then he started running regularly. He started getting a daily, and he just messaged me and said, Sarah, I just want to know, I'm going up for a team leader position, and like those are the messages Because the people that you can get to do that, they're going to become your top performers. And that's what any organization wants. So fast track that by giving people the tools to be able to do their job well.
That is really inspirational. And I love those stories, those success stories, where people were able to actually just see growth,
And I think unlocking, that's the word that's quite important for me, is if I can help somebody unlock their journey, then you're having impact.
So that to me is maybe a bit of a triumph in your corporate leadership space. Are there any other sort of business triumphs or OA triumphs that you could sort of that stand out where you're like, wow, that's a cool story?
I think the triumphs come through the people that have gone on to do amazing things. And I think just being a catalyst in that journey. And one of my strengths is the ability to paint a picture where somebody starts to believe that they could do something. So I suppose a story that comes to mind is one of the ladies, Carol. Carol, a year ago, wasn't even standing on the first step of a pool. And not even a couple of weeks ago, she swam Ocean's 8. She swam 4 miles on the ocean, totally out of her comfort zone. That we might have started that journey, but she's just taken it, and it just unlocks. And I think what it does is it creates building blocks. If you can do this and this aspect of your life, I might go and tackle something else. I think highlights for me as well is bringing a brand to life is quite. I quite enjoy that process. Seeing it come to life. But don't get me wrong, it's hard yards, and there's no. I don't think there's no formula that I've got particularly right. I'm learning every day.
Sure. So that Ocean's 8 swim, is that an 8 kilometer? Or how far is that? Or what's the
8 miles?
8 miles.
Yeah. So you do 8 miles over 2 days. You do a mile every 75 minutes. So you go in, swim, and come out again. Go in, swim, and come out again. So it's good. It's good. It was beautiful conditions this year, which is amazing. And it raises a lot of money for charity. So each swimmer has to pay their entry, but they've got to raise the money to be able to participate in the event. So I think it's one of the biggest fundraisers, swimming fundraisers that there are.
Sarah, if you could travel time, to which period or where would you go, and who would you have a conversation with, and what questions would you ask?
Good question. I must admit, I like just because I've grown up reading Jane Austen and all of that kind of thing. So I like that era of but I'd like to not be born a servant. I'd like to be in the nobility, because I don't think. Who would I ask and what? I don't actually know. I should have planned this, hey. No, I think there's certain people in history, I'd actually maybe not even ask them, but observe them. So you think I was in the UK and I went into the war rooms, and obviously that was Churchill's war rooms in the war. To be a fly on the wall, just to see as it was, I quite fancy that. What would be yours?
Sure. I asked the questions. I don't know. I'd probably even go back to Jesus' time, maybe. But I don't know what I would ask him exactly. But also, just one of those things. But
thankfully, we get to ask him anything, anytime.
Exactly, 100%. And we do have the word, so it's all good. But that just to live in that time, must have been very, very obviously different. But I
think we underestimate the harshness of we're living in probably one of the most convenient in inverted commas, because there's a lot of people out there that are in very hard conditions. But overall, we if you lived in whatever era, you were most probably hunting to stay alive. Do you know what I mean? You didn't just walk to your fridge and the milk's there, and then go to Woolworths and stuff like that. So it's very much, we're not in survival mode. So I think we underestimate how harsh.
Yeah.
Times
and I remember you always said, like even going to the fridge and fetching milk, you can make that fun and OA, ordinarily active. You can do some squats while
100%.
you're waiting to,
And that's really it's the principle of habit layering. So do something, combine it with a habit that you do every day. So I always say brush your teeth, and I hope people do that, because that's hopefully a habit that they do. But brush your teeth, or what can you do before your shower, going back to perfection. Often we sit in a time where we go, oh, well, I can't do X because I haven't got so much time, and I haven't got 40 minutes to go to the gym, or I haven't got the budget to go and have a bio who looks after me. So I haven't, so I don't. But what can you do? Can you do 6 minutes a day? Can it be imperfect? That's what I'm trying to say. So can you do 20 squats before you climb in the shower? That's better than doing no squats at all. So I think a lot of the time we often sit with, especially in our busy days, we go, I don't have time. But actually what you mean is, I don't have time for what I've thought in my head I don't have time for. Do you have time to go, literally after dinner, walk down your street and back again? That's going to aid your digestion and a habit that's good. I still haven't convinced Paul. I was like, we should try this after dinner walk. And he's like, why? I'm like, it's good for you. And he says, no. And I'm like, come on, work with me here. Don't worry, I'm going to get it right.
Prioritization is such a key thing. Exactly what you say. It's not that we don't have time. We all of us in this room have 24 hours a day. The President of the United States has 24 hours a day. 100%. Everyone has 24 hours a day. So it's what do you make time for? And
I've been shocked. I've actually been quite shocked. I listened to a podcast, and on the podcast, he was interviewing the author of a book that I mentioned to you, Slow Productivity, and I'm dying to read it. But he mentions he is any app on your phone that makes money from you. So if you look at some of the big apps, they are worth billions. So they are engineering it for you to stay on that app. So you've got to be so aware. Get off the app, go and have the conversation with somebody. And so my default, without even realizing, is open Instagram or whatever. And I'm doing it so subconsciously. And now I'm actually choosing to, and I don't know but do you walk around your house and your phone moves with you?
100%.
100%. Yeah. And I get a bit twitchy. And I've had to look at myself and go, you do have time. You're just not spending it well. And it's amazing how much time you do have. So when people say, I don't have time to think, it's, you've got to give up something, or you take a hard look. And there is a place for all those kind of things. But I think we are not being smart, and I include myself in this. We are time wasters because it's instant gratification, and it's fun.
Yeah, and it's a generational thing, like you say. It's every one of us.
Yeah.
If there were two entrepreneurs that came in here and said, Sarah, can you give me 2 tips? I'm starting out my own business. I don't know what I'm doing. What are 2 major tips? You may have touched on them before, but what are you're sort of what's your 60-second pitch to 2 entrepreneurs?
I go back to my point about being quite critical. Not if your idea isn't working, or it's not, you don't hold on to things. Or grow smart and quickly, cut quickly. Find the right people. Surround yourselves with the right people. And if for whatever reason there's a person that doesn't fit in your team, or it's just not working, as hard as it is, you need, as the leader and as the business owner, you need to make those decisions. And then there's going to be hard decisions that you're going to have to make. And I'd say also have fun, grow, but I think one of the things is stay, and the other one that I also think is have a set of values that you operate from, and instill it in the people that work for you. or on the team, so that they start making value-based decisions. So even when you're not there, they can still make a decision, because if it's based on our values, then if it's like not a value-based decision, it's not a major issue. If they make a decision and it's wrong, it doesn't really matter, hopefully, but let them grow in an organization that is led by values, because then they start and let them make decisions, and let them make bad decisions, but small bad decisions, and help them to grow.
There's a book, I forget the author's name, but it's called Trust and Inspire. And it's also a great book where it literally says, you by trusting people and trusting your staff with certain aspects of the business, you inspire them, and that's definitely a lesson that I've learned over the years.
I think also you are going to, as the business owner, you do have a responsibility to keep the business going, and you got responsibilities to pay salaries, and that comes with a toll, and the sleepless nights, and when you are responsible for people, it's a big thing to take on. Realize when you also need to step back, because you often burn the candle too low, and then you start being a rubbish leader, and you start making rubbish decisions. And I mean, I used to get angry, like I'm getting angry about something that I really shouldn't be angry about. So I think realize when you are floundering, and then go, hang on, I'm not at my best here, and if I need to lead, I need to do something to So I think it's being critical of yourself as well. Otherwise, I think you're going to head down a path.
I think that mirror is an important one. You need
you
to.
Don't
you
always
need
want
to,
that mirror.
that mirror sometimes just is weird.
Yeah.
But you have to look at that mirror.
But also, it's amazing what we think of ourselves, and the impression, is
Yeah. No, there's a lot of, we could probably speak for about another 3 hours on that. But sort of, not on closing, but one of the last sort of questions. Do you have a mantra, or something, like a little phrase, a catchphrase that you sort of, when you running comrades, running up this steep hill, is there something that you sort of maybe say or recite on a daily basis that gets you through some difficult situations? If you in front of a confrontational situation, there's something that you sort of say to yourself to take a step back, assess, and then deal with it.
Yeah, so I think there's different ones in different situations.
Yeah.
So if I'm running comrades or long run, I must probably go quite mechanical in terms of don't let your mind go to the dark places. So just focus on what you need to do right here and now. If you're getting tired, don't just tell your legs what they need to do. So I've got one, you'll know it's strong arms, strong legs, strong mind, and that's all you just say. So you don't let the dark thoughts come in. One that I've come across is also in tough times or the difficult confrontation is realizing it's not permanent and it's not pervasive. So meaning it's this won't always be like it. So just concentrate in the here and now. It's not like it's going to be like this for the next 10 years. And I think we've also got a tendency in tough times to go, everything is rubbish. Well, it's not really, Sarah. Like the sun rose this morning, you had food to eat, you got a car to drive. Is everything rubbish? Yes, this one situation might be rubbish, or this one conversation that you've got to have is tough. But I think so I've been quite cognizant of those. There are 3 P's. I just can't think of the other P right now, but it's permanent and pervasive. And I think those 2 are right here and now is what I'm trying to hold on to.
Yeah, I think you mentioned a very important thing. Gratitude is such a massive part of mental well-being. Every day, if you can make a list of just 5 things that you're grateful for, and then it can be as basic as I've got 2 legs and I can walk. 100%. Because there are people that can't walk. I've got 2 arms. I can talk. It's 100%. Just break it down. And
I think when you lose that, then that's dangerous, because you just lost perspective of everything, I think. And then the other thing I've been quite conscious of is, can I plan my first thought of the day? So the minute you wake up, what's that very first thought?
Snooze.
So I wanted to be, okay, what adventure does this day hold for me today? And for me, it's like, God, what adventure have you got for me today? Because if I go into it, no matter, and that's not sunshine and roses and unicorns and stuff like that. It's going, I've got to see it like that, because we might not get tomorrow. But an adventure is quite a positive word, but it could mean what growth am I going to have to do. But so I've tried intentionally to the first thing that I think that has got to be the thought, and it's working. It's quite cool.
That's awesome. That's how you started paddling now.
Yeah.
What adventure?
I prayed this morning very hard as I was out of the water.
As the great white shark was just...
No, but seriously, Nicola had a whale come up. My friend Nicola, she was paddling along, and the whale came, and it was a meter away from her. Yes. I said to her, wow, we don't get much better than this. I just took a moment, and I was out on the water this morning, and I was almost gobsmacked. It was so magnificent.
And I mean, this time of year as well, the waters are and the weather's perfect, and the sunrises must be absolutely phenomenal.
But I think my friend hit the nail on the head where she says, because I said to her, "You're coming paddling. It's my gift." So I used to enter her in mid-March. She hates swimming, and I used to enter her in mid-March every year and say happy birthday. And I said to her, "We're going paddling." I didn't give her much choice. She got added to a group, and she's like. And she could have said no. And like we were just chatting about this morning, it's like, say yes. Say yes, because you don't know where the advice, and if it takes you out your comfort zone, even better. But say yes to something that is going to make you grow. You don't know the epicness that could be out there.
That is part of that whole growth mindset, which we sort of covered in our sessions in the park there, and you mentioned it as well, you can't paddle well yet. Yet. 100%. That yet is so important.
And just changes your whole phrase. I used it. Somebody said to me something yesterday, and I know I'm not very good at it. and I actually purposely I said the sentence, and then I took my own advice, and I went yet, and it does. It reframes everything. It goes, I'm not good at it yet. I'll get there one day, or I might not, but it's not now.
Yeah. But it's all about the journey, like we said.
100%.
Yeah. So where can people get in touch with you in Ordinarily Active space or the corporate space?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Ordinarily Active. You can find us there, message us, comment, like, share, do all those wonderful things. Have fun, look at the videos. I hope it gives a feeling of just a bunch of ordinary people, and you could be that person too. The corporate space, I'm on LinkedIn, Sarah Swainson. Get in touch. Let me have a conversation with you. Sorry. I love speaking to people, especially in the corporate world, and understanding that you can make it not a cost to your benefit, to your business. It can pay these kind of programs if they're clever, and you are, and I think this is what's key about it is evaluating well, is it's not a cost. It's actually going to save you money, because you're going to have happier, healthier, engaged people will drive more performance. So get in touch with me. We can have a conversation. I think no business is the same. So So either LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, smoke signals, not sure about that one.
Thanks so much, Sarah. It's been awesome chatting to you. I always love connecting with you, and I'll be on the road soon again, I promise.
No, thank you. And thanks for the opportunity. This has been really good. So I hope it grows from strength to strength.
Yes,
I look forward to
we hope so too. So hopefully we can have you back in a repeat episode in the future where you tell us that you've paddled around the world or something like that.
There's
the journey. We've been talking the journey, adventure.
Yeah. Or we can have a conversation about you being on the water paddling.
I have no balance, but yet I have no balance. I
promise you, we're gonna have the next conversation we are going to have is about how much fun you had.
Awesome. Thanks so much for listening to yet another episode of the Conveying Stories Podcast. Please comment, like, share this. On any platform. It's going to be on Spotify and YouTube and all those beautiful platforms. Any traction we can get is much appreciated. And join us for the next one. Until next time, Prost.